The Group Chief Executive Officer, NNPCL, Kyari, yesterday at the interactive session organized by the Senate Ad Hoc Committee probing sabotage in the oil and gas sector, chaired by the Senate leader, Okpeyemi Bamidele, declared that the leadership of the NNPCL are neither thieves or economic saboteurs. He stressed that the NNPCL is loyal and faithful to the country, in his words, adding that its management vow to protect the interests of Nigeria in the petroleum industry. He observed that most problems in the petroleum industry have nothing to do with NNPCL. This was as stakeholders in the oil and gas sector of the Nigerian economy agreed to expose all forms of sabotage and criminal activities bedeviling the sector, not minding whose ox is gored. This comes as a member of the House of Representatives representing Idiato North and South Federal Constituency of Imo State and House Committee Chairman on Downstream Petroleum, Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere, yesterday denied allegations that he gave $1.7 million to the House leadership to secure the committee chairman position. Participants at the Senate Ad Hoc Committee probing sabotage in the oil and gas sector, chaired by Bamidele, further agreed that the investigative public hearing should be aired live on national televisions and other media platforms. All right, okay, so Rufai, we've consistently called for an investigation and inquiry into what's going on with NNPCL, the oil and gas sector in Nigeria, and this is playing out in the Senate. Your take on this story?
I'm happy about it, but I'll tell you what my soul is telling me. A part of my soul is divided. My soul is divided this morning about this investigation. A part of my soul, the optimistic part, says, yes, we must see this investigation go on TV to be able to get to the end. And there are some questions I would like to ask, probably for a forensic audit of the NNPC, for the NNPC to probably come clean and tell us, is subsidy still being paid? Why is it difficult to be able to get profit out of the NNPC? And why is that the NNPC that ought to be making money like the likes of Saudi Aramco has now become a money borrowing machine? Why have they not been able to stop crude oil theft? Who are the participants in crude oil theft? Why is it that the NNPC has collected over 1 trillion and the refineries are not yet working? The Port Harcourt, they said, mechanically complete in December. We have not seen anything till date. Why is that over the years, the NNPC was still paying for those refineries when they were not producing anything? Can we have an investigative audit into even people working there? Is there anything going on? What's the state of where they store this petrol in tank farms across the country? A part of me wants a holistic forensic audit. And a part of me says, I'm optimistic that the National Assembly will do a good job. But the second part of my soul always reminds me of off your mic. When the truth was about to come out as regards the NDDC case, there was the off your mic scenario. And that matter died like that. So the second part of my soul that knows Nigeria so well is telling me that, hope this is not going to be another off your mic scenario. In fact, that part of my soul is already saying, Rufai, it's beginning to look like that they're already making allegations of $1.7 million bribe somewhere in the mix, which was denied anyway. But for the fact that it was even mentioned at all, the part of my soul is already saying, Rufai, you don't see. Nigeria, you hope and believe in. But I want to hope and pray again that that optimistic part of my soul is going to win, that the National Assembly is going to get to the end of this, and we're going to have proper forensic investigation. Absolutely. We are going to get down to brass tacks and know what's really happening. Yes. But the other part of my soul is contending. The other part of my soul also reminds me of Farouk Lawan.
The other part will be triumphant, the optimistic part. Thank you.
Okay, what are the issues here? The issues are as follows. The NNPC Limited has been under siege in recent times, with people accusing the NNPC Limited of all kinds of things, attacks on Kyari, on the institution, and the renewed concerns about the opaqueness of the NNPC Limited operations. I'm on record as having made a point here that Kyari is not the problem with Nigeria's oil and gas industry. I have said on this program that the problems are located elsewhere. If anything, I'm not Mele Kyari's spokesman. If anything, it's under Mele Kyari that we first had the first proper audit of NNPC. Before him, nobody did it. It was under him that NATI, which is the Extractive Industry Transparency Organization, first said that under Mele Kyari, there has been an audit. It is under him that we even first had of of a refinery in Port Harcourt being mechanically completed. So I think it's in order that Mele Kyari yesterday tried to defend himself, to say that NNPC Limited, under his watch, is not a thieving organization, is not a saboteur organization. If anything, he has been able to move the needle forward. And I stand by that, and I accept what he has said. However, we all have concerns about the refineries. We were told yesterday at that Opeyemi Bamidele-led session that, look, under the watch of this government, $1.5 billion has been spent to revive Port Harcourt refinery. Okay, what have they done with the $1.5 billion? Nigerians don't have fuel in the stations. So that's an aspect of it that the NNPC Limited people would have to explain. The second issue, which I found also interesting, is that the representative of the Dangote Group yesterday, Aliyu Suleiman, who is the strategy officer, said that NNPC Limited has been giving them up to about 60 barrels? Yeah, whatever, I don't know what they call it. 60%, he said, of their needs for crude oil. The story out there is that NNPCL has been starving the Dangote refinery. Yesterday, we got another side of the narrative. That's another point. Number 3 is that Farouk Ahmed, who said Dangote refinery was giving us substandard crude oil, or diesel to be specific. He was there at the meeting too. What did he say? He has not been reported in the papers this morning. And I've been saying that Farouk Ahmed should be made to give us clarity on whatever it was that he said that triggered all this probe about sabotage in the oil and gas industry. Ugochukwu Chinyere. No, I don't want to comment on him. He's saying he didn't collect money and all that. There's a lot of monkey business by lawmakers in the National Assembly about the oil and gas sector. But I will return to what President Obasanjo said. That look, all these problems will not have happened if people who are importing fuel and doing attack trade with the oil and gas sector do not exist. You will not expect them to support Dangote refinery. Baba Obasanjo made that point. He also made the point that, look, the way forward is for us to diversify the economy. Going to agriculture, he recommended. He was saying what he knows. After all, he introduced Operation Feed the Nation and all of that. This economy, for as long as it is monocultural, will be problematic. And my summary is that it's not about witch hunting, about saying, oh, is this person that is responsible? Is that person that is responsible? People must take a more intelligent, logical appraisal of what is going on in the oil and gas industry. There are persons who are complaining about crude oil theft. The people who are responsible for crude oil theft are the ones complaining most. So what kind of country are we running? We have the wisdom of President Obasanjo in the matter, and we have the details before us.
Right. Well, very true. Mr. Mele Kyari has a right to defend himself. And I'm glad that the Senate is probing sabotage, alleged sabotage in the oil and gas sector. And this is chaired by Senate Leader, Senator Kwemi Bamidele. The truth is that, I'd said this yesterday, that Mr. Kyari, as the GMD of NNPCL, has a lot of questions to answer. And he, in his own words, said that the NNPCL is owned by 200 million Nigerians, and therefore, he is accountable to the people that own, in his words, the NNPCL. A number of questions, and we are hopeful that the Senate, on behalf of Nigerians, would ask the relevant questions and would wait for the relevant responses. No one would be trying to shield or protect or say, can we help you? Do you want cover? We want the truth. Everything is in the interest of Nigeria, in the economic interest of Nigeria. A number of questions already raised by some people, easy questions that can be asked, and as was suggested, hopefully this can be televised so that Nigerians can also have the opportunity to see what is really happening and be informed as to what's happening. The first thing, of course, I would ask, in terms of KPIs, what is the reason, or why is the NNPCL not making profits? The NNPCL is still looking in some quarters to borrow. Whereas, if you look at other national oil companies like Aramco, we talked about it here, making billions of dollars, being able to contribute to the economy. Why is that not the case? Why do we still have the persistent crude oil theft? It cannot be that it is an impossible situation to handle. I know that it's a multi-pronged approach that will be required. I know that it is deep and murky waters, but it is not impossible for this to be addressed. So those questions need to be answered. Of course, the big one around the refineries, which we talked about, in terms of the $1.5 billion that was budgeted for that, turnaround maintenance, and all we have now is a mechanical completion. That's not good enough for Nigerians, especially as the GMD himself spoke to Nigerians and gave a timeline for when the refineries will be working. So one of the first questions I'd like to be asked and to hear from the NNPCL GMD is this: why didn't you meet the deadlines? Why didn't you explain to Nigerians as to why the deadline was impossible to meet? When would we have a deadline, and what should be done in the events that deadlines aren't met? In other countries, in many other places where you have people who are accountable, even in companies, organizations that are run by you and me or people on the street, when you have a principal officer that's not meeting his deadlines, you would ask, there'll be a probe, there'll be an official query to the principal, absolutely, because it's a great job. He's earning a great salary, so he should be able to do the work with the resources that have been provided to him. Nigerians just want simple questions as to why we are not being able to maximize the oil and gas sector that ought to be bringing a lot of revenue into the nation, so that where we are at the moment with regards to a cash crunch, it's going to help and contribute immensely. So many questions there. We know it's not a day's affair, maybe not even a week's affair, but all the people that are culpable, if it's not just the GMD, let's bring all of them in and question them. Nigerians deserve to know the truth, and the NNPCL ought to be more transparent and accountable to the owners of the NNPCL.